That's a bad guy.
I keep on striving for a better way of life. The devil's disguising, the earth's in turmoil and in strife. We are surviving, looking for the better days. Lord, protect our life, guide us closer to your light. He that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. I'm trying to run this race. I'm trying to finish in first place. And here, well done, my servant. Well done, my servant. Oh.
Rip me out my chains, cuz I don't want to be here. Thankful to the Father, I got eyes so I can see clear. Taught us that the sickness we inherit is hereditary. Reputation could be passed down to make us legendary. Seems as if the strong could bear the burden and we never weary. But the thoughts that cross my mind in real time is hella scary. When you die and meet your demise, they say you viraled in. But on the earth, there's no checking in when niggas spiraling. The therapy the music tend to give us with the slightest pin, or make the wind feel less destructive when we surviving it. I only enter into this music to remind you, with hopes and wishes that this light I'm vibing with finds you. And even when the shade is great, push through, motherfucker, and shine through. Cause we the hope and the elect. I'm talking times two. We the hope, we the elect. I'm talking times two. And when it's all said and done, it's only you. In a dark place, they tried to eradicate the whole dog race. They took the earth by a hand and ripped the crown off the heads of the ones that own this land. And then they made a brand. They put cement over the bones and made businesses. And then they told us this was...
Hello. What's going on with y'all, man? See who's in the building. Shout out Ganon, Urok, Shayara, Makaya. Shout out Goar listening in. Yo. What's going on, man? Oh, you allowing your neighbors to cook chitlins, huh? Okay. Niggas, man. Shout out Snapple. How we doing, man? 10 people. I know y'all got the day off. You can't tell me nothing. Niggas got the day off. Let me go ahead and text a few people that I know should be in here. Appreciate y'all. First and last time y'all gonna see me in with these braids, man. The African little girls tore my shit up. Pause. Yeah, text your friends that class started. Brothers got the day off. Yeah, shout out Snapple, man. Apple is the best flavor they got. Come on with it. If you're drinking anything other than Apple Snapple, you're going way the hell off, man. That is the only acceptable flavor. Pause. Hell nah. Now I'm not saying that they're not good. Just the process of getting them was just terrible. Bad experience. Come on now. I see some of y'all in the spirit. See, that's a brother in the spirit. You know? We're going to get into a few things. This class is basically going to revolve around Thanksgiving, but I want to go into a few things before it. It's not going to be a long class. I know people got the days off, and this is going to be my day off as well as tomorrow. So I'm going to, allow myself to enjoy it as well as you guys. So it isn't going to be too long. I just wanted to touch on a few things concerning Thanksgiving and some recent events that is taking place. You know, I got to touch on those dudes, those boys. Pause, big pause. That group of people, I'll say. Big pause. Yeah, that was wild. I know they're gonna clip that. Damn. Apoya, go ahead and drop the first video before anybody notices. Drop the first video. Let's get it going. So this is a CIA agent, a former CIA agent. His name is John K. We'll call him. Can't even pronounce his last name. And I seen this on TikTok, and I wanted to show this to you guys and go over one of the things that he's saying, because it really plays a part in what's going on and how things are moving during this second Trump administration. Because if you don't know, Trump is basically a America first, do it myself kind of person. And that's why he was so popular his first time in office. His first time in office, he was directly pointing towards the American citizen and saying, I'm going to do this for you. This is what we're going to do to better your life. And this is how we're going to do it. And a lot of people received that message because for so long, there was never an initiative on the wellness of the middle-class American. Never. We've been taxed for so long. There's never been an incentives to give us any tax breaks. There's never been an incentive to have things cheaper in our favor. When people get into office, it's mostly to allow for corporate America to benefit, especially during tax season. So the first time around, he says, hey, we're going to start the process of immigration. We're going to work towards solidifying the middle class. We're going to do more for the people, essentially. And this is why his message was so, how do you say? It was so compelling his first time in office. Now, the second time in office, he's saying most of the same things, but now he's coming up with bigger and better plans, like the Big Beautiful Bill, which allows Americans under $150,000 a year to be to receive less taxes on their overtime, no taxes on tips, these such things, right? So a lot of the message is the same. We're still going to tackle heavy on immigration because during the 4 years of the Biden administration, millions and millions and millions and millions of people made their way in and not only took over the healthcare industry, they totally inflated the government assistance agencies. And a lot of our inflation, a lot of the Federal Reserve interest rates are because of what happened during the last 4 years, obviously. So coming in with a compelling message again, that we're going to help steer the middle class into a better direction, and we're going to do so by controlling inflation. We're going to do so by regulating the housing costs. We're going to do so by regulating taxation on the middle class entirely. We're going to better healthcare. A lot of these things are still compelling to most Americans because most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Most Americans can't afford groceries. Most Americans can't afford gasoline. Most Americans can't afford their household expenses. So the compelling statements of Trump this second time obviously led to the majority of the U.S. population to start voting for him. I think 71% of the population voted for Donald Trump. So this second term was supposed to be like the second coming of Donald Trump and this new economic regime that's going to allow the middle class to prosper. But what we soon found out was that when he got into office, a lot of those things just didn't happen. We've seen some sort of tax cuts with the Big Beautiful Bill, which is actually regulated. They kind of made some revisements as it was being pushed through the House. You still receive less taxes on overtime, but it's for a specific amount of income. It's for a specific household, so on and so forth. It isn't just cut and dry as was described or as was kind of brought out when the whole idea transpired. So a lot of the sentiments are the same up until he gets into office, and a lot of things are starting to change in a direction that's affecting the economy more negatively than it is positively. Just in the aspects of our foreign policy. Now, the goal was to eliminate the middle class. Well, eliminating the middle class entirely isn't necessarily a smart idea, because if you think about it, the middle class is what drives corporate. The middle class is what's driving corporate revenue. If there was no middle class, there wouldn't be any higher brackets of classes to even exist, because they're relying on us to make these purchases. They're relying on us to continue to allow businesses to thrive. So, and capitalism only exists by corporate America allowing shell companies to hold their value and shoveling it towards the larger corporations that own these smaller corporations. So no, I wouldn't think that. It would definitely put the divide. It would definitely put the divide a lot higher. I would say somebody who's a millionaire is closer to being poor than being in the upper class. You know what I mean? Like, making more money doesn't put you any closer to the higher brackets of wealth. Like, they're closer to us than they are to them, if that makes sense. So yeah, about the Trump administration. The Trump administration basically came in the second time, and their foreign policy has been 100% geared towards Israel and what Israel wants on their behalf. And the presidents throughout time has always had the same implication. I showed you guys last time I was here, where one of the presidents got on and he was being interviewed about how loyal he was to Israel. And he was basically just explaining, hey, every single president in this time and for time in an advanced time is always going to be loyal to Israel. Is always going to be loyal to Israel. And I think where Donald Trump stands in this is, I don't think he's necessarily aligned totally with what Israel's doing, but he has no other choice because he has to be compliant. And one of the reasons why is because of this guy, and I'll let Wampanoag play it so I can stop rambling. Let me see. Let me catch up because people laughing. The hell y'all laughing at? Not chilling.
From when I joined the CIA, George H.W. Bush had just become president.
All right, hold on. Pause the video.
The Israelis asked us to bomb Iraq
because this monitor doesn't allow me to hear any speakers. We need a speaker for this monitor. Let me go to the class online. Hey. All right, go ahead, play the video.
Listen, every president, from when I joined the CIA, George H.W. Bush had just become president. The Israelis asked us to bomb Iran. Every single president. No matter who the prime minister of Israel happens to be, you got to bomb Iran. You got to bomb Iran. You got to bomb Iran. And every single president said, no, we're not bombing Iran.
That was former CIA officer and whistleblower John Kiriakou, revealing that Israel relentlessly pressured the United States to attack Iran for decades and ultimately succeeded by using direct threats to sway Washington.
We would never bomb Iran because our position was that would be the start of World War III. The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
So you're telling me that they just admitted to the president of the United States that they have nuclear weapons and we still do not have them in the IAEA treaty?
I mean, if Israeli nuclear whistleblowers are to be believed, yeah, they've had them. They started working on them in the 50s. They got them around the late 60s or the early 70s. There are credible reports that when the apartheid regime fell in South Africa, they had nukes and they gave them to the Israelis.
According to Kiriakou, Israeli strikes targeting Iranian nuclear scientists were highly precise, despite Israel's willingness to cause mass collateral damage.
The Israeli policy is, if they want to kill you and you're in an apartment block, they'll take
all right, you can stop there.
City block out.
So as you guys heard, this is a former CIA agent. He's probably going to get offed. Yeah, that guy's life is done. So this is a former CIA agent, and he's going on an interview explaining how the affairs between Israel and Donald Trump are in this second time, or this second running of Donald Trump's presidency. And what he goes on to say is that never before has Israel ever threatened to bomb Iran themselves with their nuclear arsenal, because remember, this entire time Israel doesn't have a nuclear arsenal. They've never admitted to it. They've never admitted themselves to the I think he called it the IEA something. What that is a coalition of countries that have nuclear capabilities, and they regulate themselves. So they're responsible for each other, because they have to basically say, okay, this is how many bombs that we have, this is how many nuclear warheads we have, this is how much uranium we have, or this is the potential of how much we can make nuclear arsenal, and we're not going to do so unless somebody breaks a treaty and starts throwing nuclear weapons around. So Israel all this time has never admitted to having a nuclear arsenal, and it's only because they didn't want to be regulated. You remember when JFK tried to regulate Israel and their nuclear capabilities, because we found a 98th percent enriched soil off of one of their nuclear sites, and JFK was like, yo, you guys got to be regulated. There's no way you have this rich in uranium and didn't get it from us. You're gonna have to be regularly scheduled for us to come over and do checks, see how much nuclear bombs you have, see your potential. And this was going on for weeks for the prime minister of Israel and JFK at the time that JFK was assassinated. And then the next president came in and said, all that stuff JFK was calling for about regulations on nuclear facilities, you guys don't have to do that at all. Never mind, forget about it. And that's why they off JFK, by the way. But you guys remember, as that guy was saying, that former CIA agent, he was saying that in the 50s and 60s, Israel has gathered nuclear capabilities, and that was primarily from NUMEC. If you guys remember, I did a class and we talked about NUMEC. NUMEC is a nuclear research facility that was ran by a Jewish Zionist who also donated money to Jewish Zionist programs. And in the 60s, there was a Jewish person that was tied to IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Israeli Defense Force. He had ties to the IDF, and he got caught stealing uranium and bringing it over to Israel through U.S. mobs. So that's how they got their nuclear capabilities. And till this day, they still haven't admitted it, or they haven't admitted the fact that they have this nuclear arsenal. So what the CIA agent just revealed to us was that never aforetime has Israel ever threatened nuclear capabilities on Iran, because they have been telling us for years that we needed to bomb Iran. Before 9/11, actually, there was 3 Israel lobbyists that came to the president of the United States and said, this is the list of countries that we need to invade and get rid of because of Islamic tyranny. And one of them was Syria, one of them was Islam. One of them was Iran, Iraq, and I think it was Lebanon. And they were putting this message on the president during 9/11, before 9/11 happened. This is well documented, by the way. So before 9/11, they were putting out a message that we needed to invade these countries because of Islamic terrorism before the strikes even came down. And since those times, they've been saying that Iran was going to come up with some sort of nuclear program or some sort of nuclear capabilities. They've been saying this for 20 years. They're literally saying it for 20 years, and we've never seen any progress of any nuclear capabilities that Iran's ever produced. So fast forwarding to today's time, we have Donald J. Trump in office on a second term, who's received millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars from this Jewish woman. And he's also receiving money from Jewish donors, all to push this forward propagating Israeli agenda. There's no way around this at this point. You've already taken their money. You're going to do what we say. You're going to do what we say. Otherwise, you wouldn't have needed our money. And he's a goddamn billionaire. So why did he do it in the first place? No idea. But yeah, fast forwarding to today, these guys have this guy's nuts in their hands. So anything that goes on, even if he doesn't like it, I mean, he got on the news and started cursing about what was going on in between Gaza at the time and Hamas and Israel. I don't know if you guys watched that. He was like, these guys are both effing idiots. Even at that time, he didn't necessarily agree with the war because he was trying to stop it the entire time, but there was nothing he knew, because this foreign policy is derived from Israel's priorities. That's all it's ever been. And now we see it so happening because now they're starting to threaten nuclear capabilities. So that's why we bombed Iran. One, we were the only people on the planet that had the missiles from the B-2 stealth bomber to bomb one of their nuclear facilities that was literally buried under a mountain. And the former CIA employee just kind of proved that this foreign policy is ran by Israel. So I thought that was interesting. Oh, also on Twitter, there was something that happened on Twitter like a couple of days ago. Twitter updated, I guess they updated to where you can see where accounts were located or created from. Do y'all see that? Let me search it up. But Twitter opened up its policy and they allowed for like your location of origin to be seen, where your account was created, where you reside, and all that. It was very vague, but it wasn't like specific. If I went on Shamak's Twitter account, if he had one, it would say user in the United States. Like it was something like that. He said, "Oh, I deleted Twitter." No, that's your Twitter. That's your Twitter. So why am I saying this? So Homeland Security is a government agency in the United States, from the United States. They got caught on Twitter because their location was based out of Israel. Let me see if I can find that. Homeland Security, HSI, Israel, Twitter. Let me see. Location. Don't tell me they scrubbed it. Oh, I found it. I'm about to send it to you, Apayag. I'm going to send it to you on WhatsApp. Homeland Security was literally just caught because their location was literally in Israel. And I was like, yo, no way. And after this came out and there was a public outrage, Twitter deleted this. They deleted this feature and then they re-uploaded the feature and then it changed itself back to the United States. I swear to God, search it up. Yeah, their money, power, and influence is actually insane. Ganon, you deleted yours too? Yeah. Y'all some wicked brothers, man. I can't lie. I know what y'all doing. Check this out. Wait for it to clear up. Let me see if we can zoom. Can you zoom into that? That brother shouldn't have social media. Look at that. July 2008. Yo. Yo, Tel Aviv. Nah, look at this, bro. Israel App Store? Come on, man. What are we doing? Let me send you the updated one. In 2008, that account is created in Israel, bro. That's insane. Let me see if I can find the updated one. Oh, I can't find it on Google. Damn it. No, I can't find the updated one. But yeah, they updated it. They updated it so that it says USA now. Yo, we've been compromised, bro. This has been compromised. I saw that. I was like, yo, these dudes is wild. Yeah, so we've been compromised, bro. This has literally been clipped. So yeah. Now all of a sudden these people have some sort of nuclear capabilities. They have a nuclear arsenal, but they're still not going to be regulated because obviously we're going to let them do whatever they want. They lobby our politicians, they lobby the president, and they have dirt on us with Epstein. I mean, we're pretty much cooked if God doesn't get involved. So, oh, did you see that Trump's name was mentioned over 1,500 times in those Epstein files, bro? over 1,500 times he was named in those goddamn emails. Lord have mercy. I see why he's bending over. I see why. No pun intended. All right, now that we're all caught up. Oh, there's a lot I want to get into about the about that assassination that just happened. What's the dude's name? Charlie Kirk, bro. Yo, there's a lot. Next time, bro, we're gonna get into it. I'm not gonna lie, Kanye's been right out. You know what? I can't forgive Kanye because did y'all see him just do that dinner with the rabbi? Bro, that dude, he went and backtracked. Hold on. Kanye West, rabbi. Yo, search this up real quick. Actually, no, I got you. This nigga, man. Can't believe this dude, bro. Money must have been slipping. They must have had something on him. Some dirt just unveiled itself. I'm about to send you the link. Him and Young Thug, by the way. He ain't playing no damn part, man. Money's drying up. Either that or some new blackmailed evidence just came out. Let's watch that real quick before we get into this. This dude's a sellout, bro. Nah, Kanye was cooking for a while.
Blessed to be able
until
to
this
sit
came out. All right, let me hit the class real quick so I can hear.
I feel really blessed to be able to sit here
When
with you.
when was this dated?
The accountability. I was dealing with some various issues. Bipolar also. So it would take the ideas I had and having taken them to an extreme where I would forget about the protection of the people around me and myself. So I wanted to come and take accountability. Sometimes people aren't that knowledgeable about the bipolar and the cause or what causes it and the way you act.
All right, that's enough of that nastiness, man. Let me chill out before I get clipped. Oh man, so they had something on Kanye, man. He went back, he repented. He went and glazed the rabbis. Young Thug did the same thing not too soon after. Mom Donnie did the same thing. The new mayor of New York, whose entire political campaign before he was elected was how we were going to separate the Israelis in New York versus Israel, and he was going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he ever came to New York. All that went out the window, man. As soon as he got elected, that boy went and had dinner with them rabbis, put on a small hat, and I think one of his family members is Jewish. I'm pretty sure it's like somebody on his grandma's side. Dude was talking a big game. He folded too. You ain't never gonna win. This is a game created by people that own the chessboard. You get me? It's not gonna happen. So anyway, let's get into the class. Let's talk about it. We're gonna touch on Thanksgiving for a second. Like I said, it's not gonna be too long. I know brothers and sisters got the day off. I'll allow them to enjoy their day. And I'm warning y'all, a couple of y'all dudes is plate pirates. A couple of y'all, you see what I'm saying? A couple of y'all niggas is plate pirates, yo. I was talking to somebody and they was talking about at least getting a plate of, like, yo, some of y'all watching is plate pirates. Auntie's in town, nigga say, yo, my fam's in town. Yo, my fam's in town. You know, I ain't seen her in a couple months. Like, yo, just at the same time, niggas was cooking. You gonna visit this person? You can tell, yo, come by the crib real quick. I'm trying to see her. Let's go out some. Yo, nah. Niggas is plate pirates, bro. Y'all not gonna escape the wrath of the Most High. I'm letting y'all know now. But anyway. All right, serious tip. Let's get into it. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I used to be one of them. I can't lie. Nah, man. All right. Let's get into it. You got the first link ready and beautiful. We're not going to get into it just yet. I'll tell you when to load it. So the problem with America is, hey, I came a long way. You know it. Yo, what's up? You ain't clean either, nigga. But yeah, man. Let's get serious. This place, America, has a hell of a way of romanticizing and painting a picture of tradition behind innocence. You know, they've packaged these innocent gatherings where people come together for either a convenient time or a short timing, and they package it in such innocence that today's time it's not necessarily perceived as evil. And it's for the kids. You cannot forget the kids. The kids are always maximum priority. We're doing it for the kids. It's for the kids. They always say that. You're grown. You have enough time to take off from work. You can see each other at any time, but it's always these times of the year where people start to make excuses for gatherings. You know, it's for the kids. We haven't seen each other in a while. You can make that happen at any point. But regardless of that, America has painted such a beautiful picture around the holidays that they celebrate. On how much people are willing not to participate. You know what I mean? Because it's not necessarily evil for you to get with somebody and eat. It's not necessarily evil for you to get with family members on occasion and have some sort of feast. So it's not perceived as evil, but the point of what we're going to go over is that we learn the integrity behind not following holidays. Because, hey, yo, frozen. Hold on. Let me drop off. All right. I am back. There we go. Okay. Back. Beautiful. Thank you, Apayak. So, like I was saying, in today's society, it's hard to package these events as something that could be evil, only because the history versus what's applicable in today's time is completely different. The main message of why we don't follow holidays isn't so much, or shouldn't be doctored more towards history than it should integrity, if that makes sense. Because you don't get allotted grace from celebrating it. We know that. You get a lot of grace from having the integrity not to celebrate it because of what you know. Even if today's time is extremely innocent, even if the narrative has been changed. Open up the first link, please. And we'll use Christmas as an example since it's coming up. You guys with me so far? You understand what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying so far? That's a fact. Today is National Mourning Day for the Native Americans. Okay, we're going to pull this article or not. Seriously. Apayak. Come on, dude. Can y'all see it? Or am I bugging? Or is it just me? I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Beautiful. All right, let's get in it. Pause. Saturnalia is only Christmas by another name. Let's scroll down. Saturnalia for the Romans was a time stuffing themselves until they were sick and drinking until they fell over. Romans during Saturnalia hung their morals in the cupboard for a week and moved in sodden gangs of friends from door to door singing bawdy songs. When they got home, they stripped naked and enjoyed an unshackled orgy. The poet Gaius Valerius Catullus was a big fan of the Saturnalia. They're the best of days. Pause. He wrote in his memoirs, the old man. Come on, now I'm in the way of myself. There we go. The old man as old men do, remembering the boy he once was. According to the Greek historian Lucian, each community would choose some simple fellow they named the Lord of Misrule for a week. He would be dressed in the costume of an emperor, wined, dined, and provided every indulgence. Pause. He would then be led to the Roman Forum to be dismembered as an offering to the forces of darkness. Normally, virgins were the first choice for human sacrifice by our pagan forebears, but Saturnalia was a special time that required the blood of a man. During the 7-day festivities, masters and slaves exchanged clothes and roles. They played dice to decide who would be the household lord and who the servant. No business was conducted, courts were closed, and those caught in acts of vandalism were given amnesty. The poet Lucian of Samosata, playing 1 year the role of Saturn, his outlines his concept of Saturnalia. All things are barred. Drinking and being drunk is required. Noise and games of chance are essential. Appointing kings and feasting as slaves, singing naked, and the occasional ducking of faces of icy water. Such are the functions over which I preside. Saturnalia celebrations began during the week leading up to the winter solstice on the 22nd of December, the shortest day of the year. To mark that, it was called the birth of the unconquerable sun. Candlelit parades herald the growing light of longer days, culminated with the Lord of Misrule's journey on the back of a donkey to the Forum of the 25th of December. During the feast that followed the sacrifice, masters served their slaves at banquets and gave them inscribed tablets like gift vouchers. The tablets recorded those things they were able to exchange in the market: sandals, tunics, dolls, candles, caged birds, and other trifles they had probably received the year before and donated to charity shops. Saturnalia replicated the paradise of Roman legend, when the world was innocent, and so botanists, no one needed to work except slaves. It continued until the 4th century AD, when the Roman Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity. For the fans of orgy, it was never the same again. So that was just a small piece of Saturnalia. It was a 3 to 7 day. It was a 3 to 7 day celebration of the unconquered sun, and they did all sorts of things. Anything that you can think of in regards to sexual desires, they basically had it there, and they did this for days and days and days on end. So on the flip side, because the narrative's changed, right? Today's Saturnalia worship isn't the same as Roman Saturnalia worship. Today's was given to us by Mr. St. Nicholas, that had elves pretty much document who's been a good and bad kid all year round, and they drop presents off in the chimney in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. That's the narrative. Giving out presents to well-behaved children. And even if Saturnalia was what we would call the forehand celebration of Christmas, none of that's being done now, right? So people aren't doing the same things of the same manner that the Romans were with Christmas today. So how is it that even if that was the case back in that time, we're not allowed to do it with the narrative being changed now? So how do we get around that? How do we get around it? Best flavor. Hey, I need answers in the chat this time. If Saturnalia was the foreheld tradition of Christmas, even in today's time, the narrative has been changed so that it represents the innocence and it uplifts the behavior of well-behaved children. So how is it that now, even with its narrative changed, that we say that we can't celebrate it? And this isn't just with Christmas, it's obviously every holiday, but how do we get around it? What's the answer? You got somebody new coming into truth. He still celebrates Christmas with his family, still celebrates holidays with his family, and you tell him, yo, you can't celebrate Christmas, bro. And he asks you why. I mean, and you give him this breakdown. I mean, Saturnalia, 3 to 7 days, orgies, sexual desires. And he says, nigga, I'm not doing that right now. I'm literally going to the store and I'm buying my kids presents. What's your problem? What do you tell that person? What do you tell them? It's for the kids. It's a good one. What is that? 1 Thessalonians 5? Go on, I believe. Right? 5 and 22, maybe 23. What do you tell this person? Jeremiah 10 and 1 on down. Yes, that is correct. Jeremiah 10 and 1 on down was a representation of ancient Babylon's practice. This ain't ancient Babylon, brother. This is America. And it's for the kids. How do you stop the celebration of modern day Christmas with a book that was written thousands of years ago? It's for the kids, bro. Like, the presents are for the kids. The involvement of family time is for the kids. And you want me to take that away because you read me Jeremiah 10 and 1? If I'm on the opposite end, I'm like, yo, are you out of your mind? You want me to stop giving my kids presents? You want me to stop? Okay, Mayer, got to delete your question or delete your answer. So you want me to stop giving my kids presents because you read me a goddamn chapter in Jeremiah? Yes, I get it. Saturnalia was a Roman tradition. This is 2025. St. Nicholas is giving my kids presents this year. Who got the answer? Shout out to St. Nick. I'm pretty sure he was black. Somebody give me the deets on that one. Was he a black? Come on, man. I knew that nigga was black. Because Ganun, this is a time where prices are down. People are making it more affordable because people are in the mood and celebration to give out presents. And obviously the stores know this, so they give out accommodating prices to families so that they can afford better presents during this time of year. Come on, man. You see what I'm saying? Should I might sell it? No, let me chill out. We follow our customs, not the heathens. It's a good one. These is good. These is good. These is good. And we was kangs. Yo, that's racist. Yo, that is racist. Oh, man. With a time to buy presents and gather. That's correct, Yashar, but what if we want to double the presents? What if we want to allow this to live cohesively? What if we want to do this in tandem? Okay. IR, man. Should have kept your mouth shut. But yeah. All right. We have really good answers. I can't lie. I like some of these answers for sure. Sorry, Mahayar. Had to do it. This is a good answer. We follow our customs and not the heathens. That's cut and dry. The only issue with this one is it doesn't leave room for the completion of somebody per se trying not to do so. Like, if you were to give me this answer, I would definitely accept your answer. I would accept this answer, but I'd be kind of left at a cliffhanger. We follow our, all right, fuck it, man. Hey, I guess we ain't doing it. You know what I mean? I'd be kind of left at a cliffhanger. This is a good one. This is a good one, but it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't leave room for me not to do it. It just says I have other opportunities to do so. Hey, yo. This is a good one. I be telling y'all these sisters be cooking now. I be telling y'all they cook. All right. Pull the Bible up in another tab. Let's go to come on now. I be telling y'all these sisters be cooking, bro. Now let me chill out. Yo, hey. What it mean to be Christ-like, man? Let's go to Proverbs 11:3. Okay. This is Proverbs chapter 11 in verse 3. It says, the integrity of the upright shall guide them, but the perverse, come on now, moving me around. But the perverseness of transgressors shall destroy them. So where you come from at this angle is that it takes integrity to follow God. I'm not going to tell you that it's evil to hang out with your family and cook them dinner, but conveniently doing so on a holiday that has nothing but evil indication is just an unwise thing to do. It's unwise. If you were to go out on Halloween, if you were to dress your kids up and go get candy from your neighbors, that isn't necessarily an evil thing, but it's not going to allot you any grace because God knows where that comes from. God knows where the practices come from. And he's not going, I'm not the one that's going to allot you any grace, bro, because I can't make that decision. God's the person that has to allot the grace of this decision because these things are ancient. He's been warning us against false traditions. He's been warning us against false teachings. He's been warning us against false leaders, false spirits for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So the most integral thing to do which would be you not celebrating this. It wouldn't have, you would have integrity not celebrating this. Because not only do you know where it comes from at this point, but God already knows where it comes from, and he knows how traditions are passed down throughout the aisles of time. It was no different from Saturn, not Saturnalia. It was no different from Nimrod being worshipped during the times of ancient Babylon to Saturnalia in the sun, or the unconquered sun being worshipped to Roman, to being passed down through an American tradition. I mean, we already know where it comes from, but it would be in your best interest for you not to celebrate it, only because it upholds your integrity of being righteous. Y'all get what I'm saying? Jump down to verse 27. It says, he that diligently seeketh good procureth favor, but he that seeketh mischief, it shall come unto him. So am I going to tell you that it's necessarily evil for you to gather on your only day off in a busy week so that you can celebrate with your family? Absolutely not. I'm not going to say that it's evil, but if you were to have integrity, it's not going to prosper you or your relationship with the Most High to celebrate something that America gives you. You understand? Because they've already, not only do we already have a bad rep here, not only do we already have a bad history here, they're giving you something, especially when you have something else that contributes around the same time to God. I mean, it's almost contradictory. Now go over to 1 Thessalonians 5:22. Like Kawan said, First Thessalonians 5:22 says, abstain from all appearance of evil. Now, is it evil in your eyes? Absolutely not. Probably not. But Most High sees all. He knows the aisles of history. And what you're doing when you're celebrating something as simple as, or what you think might be as simple as Christmas or Halloween or Thanksgiving, God doesn't see, because he literally allotted sin to a generation aforetime, which means what? He's not going to forget just because history has passed by. He's allotted judgment to 4 generations through prophecy. So he's not going to dictate grace based off of the celebration of a time period. This is the same exact thing. So it's not going to allot you any grace for you to partake in what we call holidays of today's time just because they're played out as innocent or just because they're portrayed as innocent. You're not going to be allotted the grace because of the history that it has. Jump to Romans chapter 14 and verse 1. And so Romans 14 and 1 says, him that is weak in faith, receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations, because a lot of people will see you doing this and they might think it's okay to do so because you're doing it. So it might put you in a position where you may say, hey, I know we both believe in the same thing, but I don't necessarily see American holidays as an issue. And now he's scratching his head because he's so caught up in wanting to do better and wanting to do the right thing. He's trying to choose the road of integrity, and he sees you doing something that he might be dismayed at now. Now, this person might get caught up in wanting to do something that he's always done his entire life for the betterment or for the satisfaction of his family. Now that he sees you doing it because you don't see it as a big issue. It's the same deal with what we'll call sacrificing meats to idols, or eating sacrificed meat to idols, quote unquote. I'm not going to do it if it's going to put somebody else in a predicament where they might force to make a decision on whether or not they should do it. If they don't do it, I'm not going to do it around them. It's the same thing. You're supposed to hold yourself with integrity. That's why it says if a person follows in the Lord with integrity, they're going to be prosperous, because everything in today's time might not seem unlawful, but it's extremely expedient to understand where your direction should be headed. And that's just another thing with holidays. Like today's time, they're packaged, like I said, as some innocent ball of treasure, but it doesn't change their foundations of paganism. God doesn't see it that way. God doesn't see St. Nicholas coming down the chimney and dropping off presents for you to wake up and be happy to. No, he sees ancient Babylon. He sees Rome. And he tells you, yo, I gave you this set of parameters. Just follow this here. I know the mainstream, how do you say, belief may be different. I know it may look weird. I know you may seem left out when you see everybody else laughing around you when they're getting things and you're not, but that's what integrity is. So that was it on that. Do you guys understand where I'm coming from, though? Do you understand? I'll pull up the first article, please. The 1637 one. Before we move on, everybody get what I'm saying? Beautiful. Damn right. This was something I was thinking about because it's so different when you're an adult and you have the choices and you have like hold over your house. But when you're a teenager, when you're a child and you're going through these things, like you're told not to associate with Valentine's Day. You don't get any cards. You see everybody else passing cards and candy. You see everybody else getting presents on Christmas. You see everybody coming together to eat on Thanksgiving. It's a lot different from when you're younger. Very lot different because you're a lot more impressionable. And social life is the height of a kid's life. There's no other realm that a kid kind of goes through besides the importance of socializing. Kid don't got no bills to pay. Kid don't got a job. All he does is go to school and perform academically, and his social life is the biggest portion of that. So how he sees himself adjusting to not getting any presents, not seeing holidays the same, not being able to associate with people on certain beliefs, or not being able to fully explain why he does things a certain way, opposed to the mainstream narrative or the mainstream practices, is extremely difficult. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to get into that, if that makes sense. Let's jump into the first article. Make the screen big, please. So I just have 3 articles to read to you guys. And this is basically just an overview on Thanksgiving. So I'll give these to you guys, and I think that'll be it. Let's scroll down. This is The Real Story of Thanksgiving by Susan Bates. It says, most of us associate the holiday with happy pilgrims and Indians sitting down to a big feast, and that did happen once. The story began in 1614 when a band of English explorers sailed home to England with a ship full of Pawtucket Indians bound for slavery. They left behind smallpox, which virtually wiped out those who had escaped. By the time the Pilgrims arrived in Massachusetts Bay, they only found one living Pawtucket Indian, a man named Squanto, who had survived slavery in England and knew their language. He taught them to grow corn and to fish, and negotiated a peace treaty between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag Nation. At the end of their first year, the Pilgrims held a great feast honoring Squanto and the Wampanoags. But as word spread in England about the paradise to be found in the New World, religious zealots called Puritans began arriving by the boatload. Finding no fences around the land, they considered it to be public domain. Joined by other British settlers, they seized land, capturing strong young natives for slaves and killing the rest. But the Pequot nation had not agreed to the peace treaty Squanto had negotiated, and they fought back. The Pequot War was one of the bloodiest Indian wars ever fought. In 1637, near present-day Groton, Connecticut, over 700 men, women, and children of the Pequot tribe had gathered for their annual green corn festival. which is our Thanksgiving celebration. In the pre-dawn hours of the sleeping Indians were surrounded by English and Dutch mercenaries who ordered them to come outside. Those who came out were shot or clubbed to death, while the terrified women and children who huddled inside the longhouse were buried or burned alive. The next day, the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony declared a day of Thanksgiving because 700 unarmed men, women, and children had been murdered. Cheered by their victory, the brave colonists and their Indian allies attacked village after village. Women and children over 14 were sold into slavery while the rest were murdered. Boats loaded with as many as 500 slaves regularly left the ports of New England. Bounties were paid for Indian scalps to encourage as many deaths as possible. Following an especially successful raid against the Pequot in what is now Stamford, Connecticut, the churches announced a second day of Thanksgiving to celebrate victory over the heathen savages. During the feasting, the hacked off heads of natives were kicked through the streets like soccer balls. Even the friendly Wampanoag did not escape the madness. Damn. Their chief was beheaded and his head impaled on a pole in Plymouth, Massachusetts, where it remained on display for 24 years. The killings became more and more frenzied, with the days of Thanksgiving feast being held after each successful massacre. Now, if you guys didn't know, this was multiple massacres. Every single time they would do a massacre, they would celebrate with the feast of Thanksgiving. Like this, it wasn't just a one and done thing. These people were going around and killing groups and groups and groups of Native Americans. So anyway, it said the killings became more frenzied, with days of Thanksgiving feasts being held after each successful massacre. George Washington finally agreed that only one day of Thanksgiving per year be set aside instead of celebrating each and every massacre. National holiday during the Civil War. On the same day, he ordered troops to march against the starving Sioux in Minnesota. This story doesn't have quite the same fuzzy feelings associated with it as the one where Indians and pilgrims are sitting down together at a big feast, but we need to learn true history so that it won't ever be repeated. Next Thanksgiving, when you gather your loved ones to thank God for all your blessings, think about those people who only wanted their lives and raised their families. All right, that's number one. Let's go to number two. Go to number two and scroll down to where it says on May 26th. It's like halfway through the article. Yep, right here in Massachusetts and Connecticut. Shit's insane, bro. Yeah, that whole savages narrative, that's been washed a long time ago. These people were freaking insane. Mind you, they believe that it was God's intent for them to do it. Oh, don't get me. I'm gonna tell you something right now. There were some Spanish Jews in the West that were doing the same thing. We'll get into that on another day. Talk about them Spaniard Jews in the West Coast. Go to where it says on May 26, 1637. That's like halfway down the page. Yeah, let me see if I can. Just keep scrolling till you see it. It's the head of a paragraph. Excuse me. There you go. Should find it about halfway through. This is on May 26th. Come on now. You got it? All right. While you're finding that, I'm going to just read it. It says, on May 26, 1637, a force of Puritans attacked about 700 Pequot people near the mouth of the Mystic River at Grattan, Connecticut. The Pequots had gathered for their annual green corn dance. During the gathering, they were surrounded and attacked by the English and Dutch. The natives were ordered from the gathering building. As they came forth, they were shot down and cut up. The rest were burned alive in the building. The English captain, John Mason, and Commander John Underhill attacked the camp with the words, fire, sword, blunderbuss, and tomahawk. They also added that to see them Indians frying in the fire and their streams of their blood quenching the same, and the stench was horrible. But the victory seemed a sweet sacrifice to the great delight to the pilgrims, and they gave praise thereof to God. And the next day, the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony declared the day of Thanksgiving, thanking God that they had eliminated over 700 men, women, and children. A second Pequot village was attacked, massacred, and destroyed on June 5th, 1637, near present-day Stonington. And the third Pequot village was attacked, massacred, and destroyed July 28th, 1637, near present-day Fairfield. The Puritan fathers believed that they were the chosen people of God. Sounds familiar. And that this justified anything they did. They were, in a sense, Calvinists that believed most of humanity was predestined to damnation. I wonder where they get that Judean ideology from. During this period of their history, the Puritans, along with other European sects, declared days of Thanksgiving to celebrate mass murder more than to celebrate harvest. In fact, for the next 100 years, every Thanksgiving day ordained by any leader government was to honor the gruesome victories of 1637 and thanking God that the battles had won. Learning from the Puritans in 1641, the Dutch began to offer scalp money for natives. The Dutch governor, William Kieft of Manhattan, paid money for the scalps of each native brought to him. In 1643, Governor Kieft ordered the massacre of the Wampanoag people. In this massacre, 80 native people were killed, and their served heads were kicked around the streets of the village of Manhattan. One native was castrated, skinned, and then forced to eat his own flesh, while many colonists watched and laughed. Holy shit. Later, Kieft got Commander Underhill to carry out a massacre near present-day Stamford, Connecticut. A village was set on fire, and around 500 natives were put to the sword. Soon the settlers launched an all-out genocide of the native people. The government of Massachusetts made an offering of 29 shillings bounty for every native scalp and 40 shillings for every native prisoner that they can be sold into slavery. Colonial men were allowed to enslave and rape any native woman and enslave any native child under what was to be thought of to be the age of 14. Any native people that had converted to Christianity were accused of shooting into trees during battles with the hostiles and were therefore enslaved or killed. So the people with the peace treaty were also killed. Awesome. Other peaceful natives of Dartmouth and Dover were invited to a negotiating meeting, which they were taken captive and sold into slavery. Colonial law gave them permission to kill savage Indians on sight at will. By 1675, Massachusetts and surrounding colonies were in an all-out war with the Wampanoag people. The Wampanoag people leader, Metacomet, grew angrier as he watched the steady destruction of his culture and his people. He was forced to strike out with raids on several isolated towns for food. Captain Benjamin Church tracked down and killed Metacomet. His body was drawn and quartered, and the parts, as Captain Church said, were left for the wolves. Metacomet's hands were cut off and sent to Boston for display, and his head was sent to Plymouth, where it was set upon a poke on the newly declared Thanksgiving Day of 1675. Metacomet's son was to be killed because the Puritans proclaimed that the offspring of the devil must pay for the sins of their father. Ironic. Instead, he was sold to a slave ship bound for the Caribbean. On June 20th, 1676, the Puritans' governing council held a meeting to determine of a way, to their own words, express thanks for the victories in the war with the heathen natives. Again, ironic. And from that moment, they proclaimed June 29th as a day of Thanksgiving. The Indian celebration over the heathen Indians became a major event that was celebrated semi-annually among the New Englanders and the early colonies for many, many years to come. The proclamation that is reproduced here in the same language of spelling as the original. It says, June 20th, 1676, Holy God, having by a long and continual series of his afflictive dispensations in and by the present war with the heathen natives of this land, written and brought to pass bitter things against his own covenant people in this wilderness. I wish there was like a soundboard that I can play so that we can identify who's speaking and who or what people group they belong to. What does this sound like? Who do you think speaking? Who speaks like this in today's time? Sure as hell ain't Christians. Read it again. War with the heathen natives of this land, written and brought to pass bitter things against his own covenant people in this wilderness, yet so that we evidently discern that the midst of his judgment he hath remembered mercy, having remembered his footstool in the day of his sore displeasure against us for our sin. Yo, this is something I would say if I was in this position, because I believe in something that accounts for my sins. Come on, man. What are we talking about? Who this shit is crazy. Yo, who does this sound like, man? Oh, man. You know what's crazy? In the late 1480s, there was a Jewish expelment from Spain. I'll leave that there. Oh, anyway, having remembered his footstool in the day of his sore displeasure against us for our sins, with many singular intimidations of his fatherly compassion and regard, reserving many of our towns from desolation, threatened and attempted by the enemy, and giving us especially of the late with our confederates many signal advantages against them, with such disadvantage to ourselves as formerly we have been sensible of, if it be the Lord's mercy that we are not consumed, it certainly bespeaks our positive thankfulness when our enemy are in any measure disappointment or destroyed. And fearing the Lord should take notice under so many intimidations of his returning mercy. We should not be found an insensible people, as not standing before him with thanksgiving, as well as lading him with our complaints in the time of pressing afflictions. The council has thought meet to appoint and set apart the 29th day of this instant June as the solemn thanksgiving and praise to God for such his goodness and favor, many particulars of which mercy might be instanced. All right, that's going to be it. I'm good with that one. But yeah, I mean, that sounds like something you just read out of the Old Testament. But anyway, Let's move on to the last one. Shit crazy, isn't it? What I tell you about them? Hey, them Jewish banners in the West, man. You know? Hey, Columbus, man. You know who had the insurance over them ships, right? Come on. How ironic is it that Spanish Jewish settlers had an inkling to travel to the New World right after the expulsion of Jews in Spain? Hey. Get the article out. Let's scroll down to disease. Them dudes been around for a minute, bro. This is the other aspect of how millions of Native Americans were killed. I just want to read over this real quick. It says, prior to European arrival, America's indigenous did not experience illness attributed to livestock, overcrowding, or poor hygiene. Tells you how these people were living. Residents of Northern Europe and England rarely bathed, believing it was unhealthy, and rarely removed all of their clothing at one time, believing it was immodest. You know them people wore underwear for weeks, bro, until it literally disintegrated on their body. Yeah, it's nasty. The Pilgrims smelled bad to the Indians. Guanto tried without success, by the way, to teach them to bathe, according to Feeney Ziner, his biographer. In fact, 3 years before the Pilgrim landed, English and French fishermen transmitted diseases to tribes as they came ashore to find fresh water, firewood, and capture Native Americans for slave trade. Within 3 years of the plague, wiped out between 90 to 96% of the inhabitants of the coastal New England. 90 to 96%. Native societies were devastated. Only the 20th person is scarce left alive, wrote Robert Cushman, an English eyewitness, recording a death rate unknown to all previous human experiences. Whew. Those who did survive left their communities to join others, bringing the illness along with them. This caused many Native Americans to perish, even though they had not encountered Europeans. Once the Pilgrims did arrive in 1620, the epidemics across the Indian country were far from over. Throughout history, religion has served as a means of justification, and for the English separationists, it was no different. They believed the widespread death and devastation of the Native Americans was due to disease was divine providence or provenience, and that God willed them to take over the land. By the time native population of New England had replenished themselves to some degree, it was too late to expel the intruders. If colonists had not been able to occupy lands already cleared by Indian farmers who had vanished, colonization would have proceeded much more slowly. If Indian culture had not been devastated by the physical and psychological assaults it had suffered, colonization might not have proceeded at all. And we'll stop there. We'll stop there because it's going to go into the same thing we already read again. So that's just an overview on Thanksgiving itself. The massacre of the Pequot Indians that started in 1637 was just the beginning of massacres that initiated Thanksgiving. Then up until a certain point, Abraham Lincoln kind of made it a commemorative day on the last, I think it was the last Thursday of each month. No, he set a date, and then further later on, I think somewhere in the 20th century, they changed it to just celebrating it on the last Thursday of November. And so that's where we are today. But like I said, if you tell somebody this, they're not going to see it as it happened 1637 because this isn't 1637. So what you're going to have to compel somebody is to have. That is 100% what happened. They brought diseases over here. Remember, the Black Plague was in England. It spread in Europe. I think it killed like 30% of Europe at the time. But that was hundreds.
The natives had soaps, oils, lotions, like they were very, very clean.
Yeah, they were wicked clean when they got here. Like Shamak said, he just said that the natives when they got here had soaps and oils. So they weren't necessarily their immune systems couldn't handle what their immune systems could, or what the settlers' immune systems could. And like I said, they had already had plagues in Europe previously to them coming to America. So their immune systems growing up throughout generations after the plague had to be like on another level, as opposed to someone who's never gotten sick because they take care of themselves, or not as sick or severely sick as others on the other side of the world. So, but yeah, they're literally a walking parasite. So obviously 1637 is in 2025. So the angle you have to take is not only with history, it also has to be with integrity. It has to be bundled in with integrity, because mainstream society changed the traditions to confide with the innocence of today's time. So holding your integrity is what's going to allow you grace. Not only that, it's going to allow you a peaceable mind, because you're already doing something that was already done in ancient times. Like if you're looking at the life of Christ, he didn't do Roman tradition. He didn't agree with Roman tradition. He taught against Roman tradition. He didn't agree with Babylonian tradition. He taught against, you know what I'm saying? So it all coincides with having integrity while you follow under Christ to the Most High. And that's as simple as it gets. So that was it. Like I said, I don't want to take too much time with this. I know you guys have the day off, and hopefully you enjoy it. And you play pirates, man. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of y'all play pirates in here watching. I know you're texting somebody right now. Just, hey, send me a plate. I'm gonna pick it. Grandma's here. Is she cooking? What time? He's probably gonna come like 40 minutes after everybody ate. Yeah, it'd be some of the, or the next day niggas. Yo, some of y'all next day. Some of y'all next day dudes, bro. Yo, if you're a plate pirate, I'm gonna tell you this. You're not gonna walk away unscathed by the Most High. I'm telling you. Some of y'all next day pirates, man. It's the next day, huh? I know some of y'all. But that was it. If anyone has any other questions, comments, or observations, if not, we are gonna close up class, and I'm gonna say shalom. Good to see y'all again. Hey, yo. Yeah, while eating turkey and cranberry sauce is crazy work. You know, eyes is 10,000 times brighter than the sun. Ain't none of that going on over here. Turkey like that. Oh, yeah, Kashak, you off. Turkey is amazing. Bugging. Dude, bugging. What alayaz? Yo, Ganon, everywhere. Lord, eyes of the Lord is everywhere, man. Especially in that microwave. You're heating up turkey. All right. Shalom to y'all. Till next time.